And without further ado, it is my great pleasure here to be joined on stage by Jean-Bernard LEVY, Chairman and CEO of EDF, for the first Fireside chat of the inaugural day. Thank you.
Good morning.
Morning, great having you here.
Well, I'm happy to be here, as Augustin said, once again.
Yes, once again, absolutely. This is the fifth Infraweek, and it's great to have you here again. Mr. LEVY, let's start with the changing infrastructure world. And what do you consider to be the main challenge in the field of energy, specifically now, of course, and we're in such an extraordinary situation?
I think there is obviously a very short-term situation regarding energy prices in Europe, gas and power. But I think if you look forward in the long run, there is no doubt that the major challenge is regarding decarbonation, fighting global warming. Today, 80% globally of the energy that is consumed in the world, that we use, comes from fossil fuels. And we have to get rid of that. Maybe not all 80%, maybe we will find a way to capture carbon, but at least a very, very major part of that we should get rid of in the next 20 to 30 years if we really want to be successful and meet the Paris Agreement goals. So to do this, we need a lot of money. This is why I am here.
Well, that's, yeah. Let's see how it goes, yeah. What are the solutions to achieve the decarbonization of our economy, and what are the strengths here in France for that?
We need to raise a lot of money, as I said. We need probably to grow by 2 percentage points of GDP the amount of annual investment that we have in the energy sector. And when you add this over the next 25 years, it means we need $5,000 trillion, not euros, yeah. $5,000 trillion of investment. So this is just a huge challenge. A huge challenge. It's true also for France. Considering our power sector, our energy sector is already decarbonized a lot, thanks to nuclear and also hydro, but mostly to our nuclear fleet. We are ahead of all, or at least of most of the developed countries, and probably all the very major countries in G7. We are ahead thanks to the decision that was made 40 years ago to build a very large nuclear fleet. And still, we will need a lot of money to decarbonize the French sector. Let me also add that while everybody always thinks about generation in energy, what is the energy mix, what is the electricity mix, all of us, we have to think about being more sober, being more efficient in the way that we use energy. There is no doubt that we can do much better, and the productivity of our energy consumption can be significantly enhanced. Right now, a lot of money is indeed spent in building renewable infrastructure. We also need not to forget that we need heat. We need CHPs and similar developments, very much so for heating, as we know that transportation will mostly move towards battery electric vehicles, and also for heavy transportation to hydrogen as a fuel. But we also know that a lot of the energy that we spend is in heating, and in heating we will need a lot of steam. We will need CHPs, and we should not forget about this. But all in all, what we need to do is to have electrification accelerate. We know that today electricity accounts for around a quarter of the total energy that is spent, and in the future it will double. It will move towards half the energy that we spend. To do this, we need to use it in a better way. So this is why efficiency efforts are as important, in my view, as improving the energy mix and moving away from fossil to go towards nuclear and renewables.
Well, in this context, now let's go a little bit more into the conditions in terms of regulatory and financial framework to achieve such a development of sustainable energy infrastructure. Let's go a little bit more into details with that when it comes to technological neutrality, timing for the decision, and so on.
We have a lot of on our plate right now. Maybe one of the most important decisions that will be made in the short term is regarding taxonomy. I guess many of you over here are familiar with this debate that we are having at the European Union level regarding taxonomy. Is taxonomy going to be technology neutral or not? Are prejudices against nuclear-based energy going to win, or are they going to lose? Are we going to see taxonomy be a true and science-based demonstration that, yes, indeed, the financing of this huge energy transition towards a low carbon or a net zero, as we say, a net zero economy, a net zero planet, is that going to be financed using all the available technologies? There is a very large debate. I'm happy that France and many other countries are leading the way, but today this is not a majority of countries in the 27-country EU are leading the way to enforce that taxonomy. Financial rules for funding are indeed aligned with science-based approach towards net zero, not a prejudice-based approach against net zero. I think this is a very concrete and important decision that will be made probably in the short term. Let me add that it would be quite amazing, that while everybody understands that the energy mix, the electricity mix in each European country has to be decided by each country, not at EU level. Those countries, and there are many of them that will look towards nuclear to meet their net zero goals, those countries will need nuclear reactors. And if the taxonomy is not aligned with the needs of net zero, only non-European banks will be able to finance these reactors. And these will be American banks, or these will be state-controlled Russian and Chinese institutions. Wouldn't that be quite an alarming situation? We have, of course, another very important point, which is that today energy prices, electricity and gas prices are based on what is the cost of importing gas from outside Europe, because unfortunately there is less and less gas available in the Netherlands or in the UK, which is no more in Europe, and a very major part of the gas that we use is imported. And right now, for several reasons, these gas prices have been really soaring upwards, very, very expensive gas prices. And it is quite a paradox that in the end, these gas prices are driving electricity prices also to very high numbers. The French state decided, the French government decided last week that there would only be a 4% hike in electricity prices in France next winter. But in neighboring countries, prices have gone up 30%, 50% because of gas prices, electricity prices. So this really rings a bell in the way that we have organized, that we in Europe have organized the market design, as we call it, the price, the ways that prices are set for electricity. What are we watching right now? Electricity prices are based on gas prices. Gas prices are largely independent from European policies. They are imported, and we don't want gas anymore because gas does emit a lot of CO2. So how is it that electricity prices, which is mostly based on nuclear and renewables, including hydro, wind, solar, these electricity prices, which are mostly the depreciation over time of the very large capex that you have spent at the outset, at the beginning, and when the OPEX are very small, very minor part of the total cost of the TOTEX, how is it that your prices depend upon gas imports? And we don't want gas anymore. So this has to change, and Bruno Le Maire said that very well a week ago on Friday in September. Furthermore, these prices, the short-term prices, are the only price signals for long-term investment. So we believe that this has to change, and that the market design that has been prepared, that has been built in Europe for the last 30 years, this has to be amended. We don't believe that the short-term price signal should go away. We believe that the merit order remains a very important part of the fixing the price within Europe, and especially on the Western and Central European areas, which are very well interconnected. But we believe we should change that.
How to change and how exactly that should look and work when it comes to the new market, electricity market design, because of course this is one of the most urgent matters now in the European agenda, including the meeting of the finance ministers in Luxembourg today.
Yeah, well, they are meeting today, and we understand that the EU will remind them that there is a tool set, a toolbox available for short-term decisions, such as what has been done already in a few countries, like France and Spain and Italy, and maybe this should be expanded. But this is not a problem that will be only resolved with short-term action. It has to be said, in my view, that the market design has to be revisited. As I said, we need the short-term price signal in order that we call it the merit order, that the right energy infrastructure is called on at the right time according to its merits, according to its competitiveness. But for the long term, it is, in our view, totally inconsistent with our decarbonization goals, and also with the protection of consumers and the stability of prices, which consumers and also corporations need. It is really needed that we rethink the long-term infrastructure price signals. We need probably more planning. We need, obviously, more long-term carbon price fixing. Right now, carbon prices, ETS as we call it, is very volatile, and this is not good for long-term investment. So more planning in terms of infrastructure needs, more planning in terms of carbon prices. And in the end, I believe, and it's early days still, I believe that we will end up with a hybrid system, which a few countries are experimenting right now. Ontario, Brazil, it's not a country, well, anyway. Ontario, Brazil, California, there are a few areas in the world where there are experiments regarding what we call a hybrid system. That means a system where you do have long-term infrastructure planning and at the same time short-term merit order-based price fixing for consumers.
With some of those already experimenting with the system, just briefly, how quickly do you think that this new design could be set?
As quickly as Europe can do it, which, as we know, is always extremely efficient.
Oh, I've got nothing to add on that one. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Jean-Bernard LEVY, Chairman and CEO at EDF. Thank you.
Have a good day.